Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. It really helps me out if you like, comment, subscribe, and if you would consider purchasing from one of my sponsors in the description. Thanks a bunch. Today's episode is brought to you by Roll-Tru scale models, specifically their 40-foot containers from their iron line, which is designed to give you the most detail possible without breaking the bank. The containers are available in all of your favorite shipping lines and feature printing on all sides that is crisp and detailed, including the sides, the doors, and occasionally even the tops if the container company normally has that. The containers include a removable bottom just in case you want to add weight or even add cargo. It's up to you. And they have carefully placed and correctly sized pins and pinholes on the top for accurate stacking. These containers are also available at a lower price without livery for all of your diorama needs. Please see the link in my description for information on how to purchase and for a coupon that will give you 10% off. I'll make this one a little more concise today. This has already been out for a few weeks, so yeah, let's go ahead and dig into it. Okay, I know we didn't put this unboxing/review video out right after this thing came out, and that's because I actually didn't buy it until a few weeks later. And I bought it because all those Amtrak's phase ones came in, and I'm like, wonder if don't really have anything to pull it with. I did have that Athearn E8 shell, but I didn't particularly care for it. So I'm like, well, let's get this thing. Look at this nice, warm, beautiful, warm box. Anyway, so I'm like, yeah, let's go and pick this up since it's kind of a collector's edition. Take a look in here. We've got the parts. I'll get to that in a second. We've got some stickers. Okay, it's interesting. Got some stickers. Got a little pamphlet here. Not quite sure what's in this. Sign up. There's all the different ways to contact Rapido. Take a look at this. Another sticker. We got more stickers. Yep, another sticker there. Cool. What else do we have? Yep, a sticker. We've got parts diagram. Looks like it's pretty intricate model. Yeah, it's pretty typical for an E8, particularly a high quality one. And then this neat certificate signed by Jason Schron and Matt Donnelly. And actually, I've had the pleasure of speaking with Matt several times on the phone. Very nice guy, very pleasant guy to speak with. And I'm not entirely sure how many of these they made. I think there was supposed to be a limited run of 500 when they first came out, but I think demand and economics pushed them into making more. So I have no idea how many of these are supposed to be. It doesn't say on the certificate, but either way. Well, here we go. There's sort of somewhat tongue-in-cheek instruction set. Fair enough. At least they warn you. There is a good amount of humor through these manuals, or at least we think so. That's kind of the way I think about my own humor too. So it doesn't always work, but fair enough. So bunch of stuff. Let's see what else is in here. Break-in period. We'll handle that for sure. Talk about removing the shell. I'm not going to do that today. Here are all of the functions. I will do those today, so you'll be able to listen to them. Hope you enjoy that, or maybe they'll, help you decide whether you want to purchase this or not. It is an E-unit, and, part of the reason I didn't buy this right away is I have so many E-units. So very, very many E-units. I'm like, do I really want another one? But then I started realizing, this is pretty cool. So we've got a bunch of different lights. We'll take a look at them. And what's interesting is they talk about the rear light, how actually it's not just on when the thing's backing up. Looks like it's using a lock sound decoder, so you can go through and you can choose all these different horns. That's pretty standard. All right, let's go ahead and pull this out of here. Let's see what we've got. Do we have any extra? Whoops. Not sure what that was that tumbled away. Let's see if we have anything that... Got a pin. Very cool. 4316. Very, very cool. And I have no idea what that is, but it is not going to get put on the model. I can tell you that much. I don't even know if we'd bother to look that up. It's so small. Now this is BLI. I got a really small piece too, and one more pin. I How do you not like that? Okay, let's go ahead and get this out of the clamshell. There's nothing else in there. It's just the one. Ooh, the plastic stuck a little bit. There we go. Let me just do a quick walk around for you so you can see what this thing's like. All right, here is the front of the locomotive. It's now looking at it, it's particularly when it comes to the headlights, it's the most detailed I have, but there's no doubt that this does a lot of stuff none of my E8s do. I think I've got a few hoses, but nothing quite this elaborate. You know, we've got things like the grab irons, and again, that double light, the double bulb light is the first I've seen. Marking lamps, we are going to have lit number boards. That's going to be very, looks like one of my grab irons here is popped out. These ones are fine, but this one is a little wiggly. It's one side of it is out. All right, so we'll kind of go to a quarter view here. Very nice grab irons. Everything looks nice. Now, I think part of the issue with E8s, it's funny, I have a ton of them, but that's because you almost have to have a ton of them if you model American passenger rail. I don't know, I'm not hugely enamored with E units except for the E5 and lower series, but yeah, this is certainly very nicely done. You can just look at everything up there. Yeah, it looks like everything's sharp. Don't have any complaints. You can see the trucks down here are highly intricate. And that's one thing Rapido's known for. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but behind this intake grill, you can actually see, the details that would normally be exposed. Normally, they'll just slap a grill on there and then they'll kind of remove that part. But boy, they did a nice job. So, and unlike the Broadway Limited EAs that I have, there's not a jumble of wires behind there. So I really appreciate that. All right, as we move back here, you can see that all the lettering and everything is really crisp and clear. Rapido just doesn't skimp on this kind of thing. As we turn it around towards the rear view, let's see, the diaphragm is not sprung in any way. I guess I have a few models where they are, but it's not necessary because I've never had one touch a passenger car, another E unit behind it, so it's just not necessary. I noticed one thing they didn't try to emulate was my Proto's doors that open on those E units. It's unnecessary. It's a feature I never ever use, but I guess they just decided they definitely weren't going that direction. Let's take a peek inside the cab. It is a two-color cab, two-color plastic molded cab. Very nice. Of course, it's not the best I've seen. I've seen some that actually have multiple colors and decals and paint, that sort of thing, but this is much better than average, that's for sure. Go around to the other side, you can see the armrest in there. You can even see the details molded onto the interior equipment. Very nice touch. The only way to improve it would be to color those, but I know that takes a little bit more effort and money, and not everyone could do that. Here we go, the top roof fans, those are separately molded pieces that are placed in there. Look about equivalent to my Protos. Certainly no complaints. I don't know if this grill here is see-through. They are in some of my Protos. It doesn't appear to be here, but oh well, that's fine. Definitely from 3 feet, that's not going to make a huge difference there, so I'm not too worried about it. And up top front, we have these grab irons and horns. Very nice treatment all the way around. After a break-in, we'll go ahead and put this thing through its sound functions and through its driving functions. And some of the sounds don't seem to work without the drive on, so I'll do those separately. I just noticed that there was some hidden or missing functions from the instruction sheet, because if you look, they skip over F4, F6, F14, and F21 to 24. And the latter, 21 to 24, are the silly sounds, but I can't put them in here because my guess is that I'll get demonetized because they're copyrighted sounds, and I will put them in another video, and I will hopefully fight copyright infringement there. The other ones, like F4, just puts this thing into shift mode. I didn't try any of them though. It has to be in drive when you depress it, and there'll just be some different sounds depending on what the state is. I noticed that aux 3 is missing. I don't know where it goes to. I don't know what it's supposed to be for. So I haven't the slightest clue, but it doesn't map to anything. And instead of just cutting it out and compressing all the functions, it didn't do anything. They just left it in there. Most of these others that aren't covered just have some extra sounds that aren't used for any reason. And then there's, once again, the silly sounds, which I'm not going to put in this video. So nothing really big is missing here, nothing that you'll miss, but it's just kind of strange to me. I don't know why they skip over functions. Just redo everything so that all the functions are in a row and you're not skipping over any. All right, one oddity that I noticed about this is that no matter what speed it was running, no matter what it was doing, the track inspection light stayed on. And as far as I know, that's only supposed to come on when you're standing or when you're going very slowly. I suppose the engineer could turn it on anytime he wants, but I didn't want it on when I was running around the track. So it was always on, and I noticed also that the number boards were always on as well. And that's fine. A lot of people would like that, I guess, but I just find it sort of odd that out of the box that was going on. So went ahead and loaded this to see what I could see here, and let's take a look. All right, what I noticed right off the bat here was down a little bit further, almost to the very bottom of the first page. And that is where the programming logic says not F18 and not F19. And, in Boolean, basically that means that these are, as soon as the switch is off, these functions trigger, and that's aux4 and aux1, and F18 are the track inspection lights, and F19 are the number boards. So I thought that was really kind of quirky. Why would you both want those on by default? And especially, why would you want the track inspection light on by default? I mean, this is another, I had those indigenous NRs and they had some kind of quirky functions too. So I decided to go ahead and change these so that whenever my headlights are on, the number light boards are on, the track inspection lights will be on, so as long as it's not moving. Once it starts moving, that and actually the cab lights will also turn off. That's how I decided I wanted. And I went ahead and turned on those marker lights too, because heck, why not? If I got lights with this thing, I might as well use them. So that's what I did, is went through and changed all the logic so that those things were on when it wasn't moving. It's sort of like BLI, I guess. And then once it started moving, track inspection light would go off. So I think that'll work pretty well. Let's take a look. As you can see, the locomotive is idle and the number boards, marker lights, and track inspection lights are on, but once it starts to move, the cab light and the track inspection light automatically turns off. When it stops, they come back on, and when I put it in reverse and start it back up, those things go off again. So yeah, it's very Broadway limited-like, but I think it makes a lot more sense than leaving the track inspection lights on the whole time. Now I could change it on so that it only did so during slow speed. That's a bit more work than I want to do right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pragmatics here, and we will go ahead and put this on the scale. There are no traction tires, by the way. I've never seen a full chassis E-unit that has traction tires. The River Rossi ones, yes, those have traction tires, but never ones with a full chassis. All right, let's get it up there. 21.9. Let's go ahead and reset it just to be sure. So it's definitely over a pound, 1 pound, 6 ounces. And for everyone else in the world, that's 622 grams. So that's pretty normal, I guess, for an E-unit. Should be fine to pull whatever consist I'm going to put behind it. Now, there is no capacitor. So when it's running, you will basically get a dead unit when the power goes off. There we go. That's it. But it is an E-unit, so it has a very long wheelbase, and I don't expect there to be any problems. As far as coupler height, You know, what's weird is the coupler kind of hangs down just a little bit, but it evens out just fine as soon as you get the gauge on there. So it's pretty much dead on. I think that'll be fine. On the front, the coupler's angled down a little bit. It's angled down a little bit, but seems to be okay in the end. It's not perfect, but it's okay. I'm about to make an admission that you may think is a little bit bizarre, but frankly, I'm not super keen or super amped about this paint job. It's neat, but not really all that interested in it. It's about a 6 out of 10 for me, but that's not Rapido's fault. I needed a phase 1 locomotive, and out of all of them, this was the best. And not only that, it is pretty cool that it's a limited edition. I don't know if anyone will ever do this exact locomotive again with this exact paint scheme, but I figured as long as they're out there and I can get one, I might as well get one. So nothing wrong with that. I like it, and it probably is the premier E unit that I have. If you went through my sound section, you'll notice that like every other Rapido locomotive that I own, this is extremely quiet, which shows me the tolerances are very good. The design is very good. They're extremely quiet locomotives, so therefore I know they're pretty well built. Of course, needless to say, Rapido is what it is, and they have excellent details, very intricate to look at. Maybe the only place they could have possibly improved was actually having some sort of labeling or decaling or painting on the inside of the cab unit, but that's a lot to ask. I know, hey, they even have a cab light, so that makes up for a lot, right? On sort of the downside, I think the lighting choice is kind of strange. On the instructions, it basically says that, by default, the track inspection lights are on and the number board lights are on by default, because if you lose power, you have to turn them back on. And actually, that's not true. A lot of controllers like mine have save state, and so they'll turn them back on automatically. But I think it's a bit of a bizarre choice, to be honest with you. I can understand the logic there, but overall, it's like one of those decisions that an engineer would make, but nobody else would make. And I should know because I was an engineer, and I always tried to fight my engineering side, saying, yeah, this is a idea that works great on paper, but in practicality, not so sure that's the case. And I didn't cover this in the review so much, but the rear light is toggleable on and off, and the instructions say that actually anytime you're doing switching duty or light duty or slow speed duty, it's supposed to be on. I get that also, but I went ahead and wired mine in the normal way, and the reason why I do that is for practicality. From a distance, I can see which way my locomotive is running without having to look down at the controller deck, and that's why I like it that way. But again, if you have a lock programmer, it's really easy to go in and change that out. And lastly, it's not a huge deal, but this is the second quote-unquote premium locomotive model I've gotten where the couplers are at an angle. I don't know what, these ones are angled slightly down. The one on my Oscisions were angled slightly up. Doesn't seem to be hurting anything, but it's bizarre that they can't get that right. Not really sure what happened there. Well, I think the point that really matters here that I made is this actually is really competitively priced, even for being a limited edition with the cool box and everything. But it is a limited edition, and if it's something that you want, you should probably pick it up. My guess is, and it's just a guess, but my guess is that this will be a pretty good value store over time, especially if Rapido doesn't make it again and nobody else makes it again, or nobody makes it for a long time. So I don't think there's anything wrong with purchasing it if you're worried about sinking cost into it that you won't recover. Well, I hope that this helped you out somehow, and I'd appreciate it if it did, or maybe if it even didn't. I just appreciate it in general if you would like and comment, and if you really would help me out, you could subscribe and hit the bell notification. Everything's done off of computerized statistics, and those are the statistics that help me the most. Let me go ahead and get you your running session, which not a ton of you like to watch, I can see from statistics, but some of you do. So for the ones of you that do, hey, thanks for watching it all the way through. I actually enjoy making the running sessions. If I could get away with it, that's almost all I would do. As per usual, thanks again. Take care. Stay safe out there. Happy model railroading. I'll talk to you soon. See you for now.